have audio today, which is fabulous. Audio is a good thing to have. Definitely. Welcome to a Thursday afternoon at my sewing room. It's still winter here. It's not as winter as other places in the province. But the sun's out right now. It's quite lovely. I'm sure it will be dark by the time I actually get going out the door tonight. But right now it's beautiful and sunny and not snowing. I spent the day hanging out with Chelsea and a whole bunch of students in one of our brother new owners sewing classes. And we were covering a whole bunch of the basics on their machines. So I'm going to show you guys a funky little demo today on a Brother NQ machine, something you maybe didn't know your Brother buttonhole foot could do, and show you when and why you might do such a thing. So most Brother machines come with an automatic buttonhole foot. Most machines do anyway. And we can do a standard buttonhole, which is usually pretty lovely, but every once in a while you're going to be working on something where you want a little more oomph in your buttonhole, or you want a little more strength in your buttonhole. So think the jeans buttonhole in your pants, where you want that to be nice and sturdy and to never come out. You might want to strengthen your buttonhole and do a corded buttonhole. So I'm demoing on a Brother NQ today, but this is going to be similar on most of the feet and most of the machines. On this particular little machine, there's a category of buttonhole stitches. I'm just going to shimmy the camera that way, 1/2 inch. And so on this particular machine, the category 4 is where the buttonhole stitches will be found. And I don't really care which stitch I use for this demo, but I'm going to do this nice rectangular buttonhole stitch. The default stitch length and stitch width are usually appropriate in a buttonhole. But then the magic of what we're going to do today is adding an extra bit of support in our stitch. And we're going to make this a corded buttonhole, which will be much prettier than a standard buttonhole. Also just going to switch thread colors to something that's a little easier to see on top of my blue fabric that I'm using. Brown color's not bringing me joy. We're going to go to use white. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Get the machine threaded, and then we'll get the foot prepped for what we're up to. So bear with me just a moment. I'm going to move the camera so you guys can see the actual foot of the machine a little bit better. There we go. So the buttonhole foot, the first thing you need to know about these buttonhole feet is there is a spot in the back to put your button in, and it will slide out to 30 millimeters on most of the machines. So you can fit a 30 millimeter button in that back space on the foot. And this will make a buttonhole that is the right width or the right length for this button to go through nice and smoothly. When this clips onto the shank, it's going to clip on here, and the buttonhole stitches sew backwards first. So you want to make sure you have enough fabric out the back. The other thing we're going to do here is to make a corded buttonhole, we're going to utilize two of the things on the foot that you maybe haven't noticed before. The first being this little hook on the back, where we can take our strand of pearl cotton, and I would have this pearl cotton match the thread I'm stitching the buttonhole with. So we'll take that strand of pearl cotton and guide the hook over the back, and then at the front of the foot there's two little pegs that thread will clip into, or that pearl cotton will clip into, And there's some channels up underneath the foot here where the cording will sit. And this will stitch the buttonhole over top of this cording. It's going to be fabulous. Usually you just have to hang on to these while you get the foot installed. So like most things, we're going to start with, it's easier to put this on and then get the foot figured out. Really hard to get the cord in the right place off the machine when it's on the machine, and that's, we'll just get it sorted. So I'm just gonna hold those threads out of the way there and make sure I have enough fabric. And then the little buttonhole guide will come down from the back and sit between the little pegs on the foot. So buttonhole lever sits in there. And those cords clip in there. And then we will lower the foot. We have the right stitch selected. And just like that, we are ready to rock and roll with our automatic button. I don't have a foot pedal plugged in on this machine right now, so I'm just going to use my start-stop button and let this stitch all by itself. So when it does the automatic buttonhole, it starts at the back, starts closest to you, and comes the other way. And then it's going to go backwards to go over and make the bead of the buttonhole. And the bead is happening right over top of the cord. Bar tack at the end. And then I'm just going to use my thread cutter to trim my sewing threads. And I can lift the foot. Usually when we do this, you're left with a long loop of cording out the back and tails out the front of the buttonhole, which looks a little bit silly as it is. If we want to tidy this up, usually you can just pull on this thread and that cording will slide under those beads if it was tucked in the right place when you stitched it. It looks like I did catch a smidge of my cord right when it went backwards the second time, and that's why I'd probably want to match my cording to my thread. So the red that we can see in behind here is my cording with the white thread on top. The second part to this is we don't just want to chop those threads off. We would like a nice tidy finish all the way around. So we can take a hand sewing needle that'll fit this pearl cotton. Maybe we can get this threaded if we got our fingers in the right place today. We take these through one at a time, just underneath that second bar tack. Tuck that in behind. Get the other end of this thread. Harder with an audience.
I'm sorry, I'm making you nervous.
Sandy's right here. She's
Yeah,
making me
sorry.
nervous.
I'm making her
It's not
nervous.
everybody
Sorry.
online
Sorry,
watching
everybody.
me.
Yeah, you can't see their faces.
No. I can tuck that second one in behind. And then from there, I could tie these off. Nice and tidy on the back side or inside, whatever garment this is. Then we would be ready to open up that buttonhole. A buttonhole cutter is my preferred way, but if you don't have a buttonhole cutter, because you just found out your machine could make a buttonhole just now, you can use a seam ripper. My recommendation is to stick a pin through your bar tacks at either end so you don't cut through them. Because usually putting the buttonholes in is the last thing you do in a project, and you don't want to have it go badly at this stage. So then we can take our seam ripper and open up. But with a pin in there, you're not going to go past the bar tack in either direction.
A really good way to do that.
You've saved
Awesome.
yourself from overrunning. Last little step, you could put some fray check on there, which will just help keep those threads from falling apart on you. But just like that, you've taken your regular, ordinary, standard buttonhole and souped it up with a little more strength and a little more sturdiness and a little more volume for a nicer finish.
That's beautiful. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a really important question.
Okay, come join me.
It's a machine renter question. Hi, everybody. We do rent the multi-needle, but I don't know what it costs.
$30 an hour after you've taken the renter certification.
Okay, so $30 an hour. Is there a special category that it is under in the Dragonfly
I would search under rental.
rental?
You might have to do it under long arm.
Okay, either that or there's a base rental amount.
Maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
very good. All right.
Yeah, we rent long arms.
Yeah.
And our
And-
multi-needle.
Yes, and our multi-needle customer Aiden is here, so I just want to make sure I don't wreck it up.
That's all good.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks, Sandy. So other places you might want to use a corded buttonhole would be something like a wool coat, or your jeans. So when you're off to make that next fabulous project, keep corded buttonholes in mind. If you have a different brand of machine, start investigating your foot to see if you've got a little hook on the back of your automatic buttonhole foot that will help you guide the cord. I know we have a Bernina video on such an exercise somewhere else on our YouTube channel, so we'd be happy to help you find that if you want to be able to do that. And there we go, corded buttonhole, hot tip of the day. Something our students in our new owners class got to try here in store with classroom support. So thank you for joining me today. Just a quick little demo because new owners class days are always busy around here, and you guys can learn something too. So have a great evening. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing your fancy buttonholes.